Today's lesson is called In Pilate's Court. Welcome to this profound lesson from the Gospel of John 18, verses 28 through 40. Before we witness this historic encounter, I encourage you to read and study from your favorite Bible, the surrounding scriptures, for the complete message. If you have not yet become a follower of Jesus Christ or have real questions about him, ask God to reveal Jesus to you. He will come and reveal himself to you if you ask. 28. Then they led Jesus from Caiaphas to the praetorium, and it was early morning. But they themselves did not go into the praetorium, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover. Verse 28. By Jewish law, entering the house of a Gentile would cause a Jewish person to be ceremonially defiled. As a result, he could not take part in worship at the temple or celebrate in the festivals until he was restored to a state of cleanliness. Afraid of being defiled, these men stayed outside the house where they had taken Jesus for trial. They kept the ceremonial requirements of their religion while harboring murder and treachery in their hearts. 29. Pilate then went out to them and said, "What accusation do you bring against this man?" Verse 29. This Roman governor Pilate was in charge of Judea, the region where Jerusalem was located. From AD 26 to 36, Pilate was unpopular with the Jews because he had raided the temple treasuries for money to build an aqueduct. He did not like the Jews, but when Jesus, the King of the Jews, stood before him, Pilate found him innocent. The source is the Life Application Study Bible. 30. They answered and said to him, "If he were not an evildoer, we would not have delivered him up to you." Verse 30 says that Pilate knew what was going on. He knew the religious leaders hated Jesus, and he did not want to act as their executioner. They could not sentence Jesus to death themselves, so permission had to come from a Roman leader. Then Pilate initially refused to sentence him without sufficient evidence. Jesus' life became a pawn in a political power struggle. The source is the Life Application Study Bible. 31. Then Pilate said to them, "You take him and judge him according to your law." Verse 31. Pilate responded to their evasion by telling them to resolve the matter themselves. If they would not bring Pilate an accusation that mattered to him, they would have to judge him according to their own laws and not bother the Romans. The source is enduringword.com. Therefore the Jews said to him, "It is not lawful for us to put anyone to death." 32. That the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled which he spoke, signifying by what death he would die. Verse 32. This prediction was recorded in Matthew 20, verse 19, and John 12, verses 32 and 35. Crucifixion was a common method of execution for criminals that were not Roman citizens. The source is the Life Application Study Bible. 33. Then Pilate entered the praetorium again, called Jesus, and said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Verse 33. John combined two appearances of Jesus before Pilate, separated by an appearance of Jesus before Herod Antipas. See Luke 23, verses 8 through 12. Pilate hoped to give this problem to Herod because he ruled over Galilee, where Jesus was from. Herod sent Jesus back to Pilate, and this was the likely start of the second appearance. Pilate was already involved in this case, having sent a detachment of many Roman troops to arrest Jesus. See John 18, verse 3. This was his first look at the man the religious leaders claimed to be dangerous. Yet Pilate's question revealed doubt. The source is enduringword.com. 34. Jesus answered him, "Are you speaking for yourself about this? Or did others tell you this concerning me?" Verse 34. If Pilate was asking this question in his role as the Roman governor, he would have been inquiring whether Jesus was setting up a rebel government. But the Jews were using the word king to mean their religious leader, the Messiah. Israel was a captive nation under the authority of the Roman Empire. A rival king might have threatened Rome. The Messiah should have been a purely religious leader. The source is the Life Application Study Bible. 35. Pilate answered, "Am I a Jew? Your own nation and the chief priests have delivered you to me. What have you done?" Verse 35. Pilate said as a Roman, he had no interest in Jewish spiritual or social ideas. Pilate simply understood that if the religious leaders wanted him dead, he must have done something wrong, and he wanted to find out what it was. The source is enduringword.com. 36. Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight, so that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now my kingdom is not from here." Verse 36. Jesus plainly told Pilate that he was a king and could say, "My kingdom." He also plainly told Pilate that his kingdom was not political kingdom, was and is not of this world. The source is enduringword.com. 37. Pilate therefore said to him, "Are you a king then?" Jesus answered, "You say rightly that I am a king. For this cause I was born, and for this cause I have come into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." Pilate asked Jesus a straightforward question, and Jesus answered clearly. Jesus is a king, but one whose kingdom isn't of this world. Pilate seemed to have no question in his mind that Jesus was speaking the truth and was innocent of any crime. It also appeared that while recognizing the truth of Jesus' innocence, Pilate chose to ignore it and sentenced him to death. It is a tragedy when we fail to recognize the truth. It is a greater tragedy when we recognize the truth and fail to act on it. The source is the Life Application Study Bible. 38. Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" And when he had said this, he went out again to the Jews and said to them, "I find no fault in him at all." Pilate was cynical. He thought that all truth was relative. To many government officials, truth was whatever the majority of people agreed with, or whatever helped advance personal power or political goals. We see the same thing today. If we refuse to accept any standard of truth, we have no basis for claiming something morally right or wrong. Many people today have rejected the idea of objective truth. So every true claim is revamped or criticized as negative, spin, or agenda. Justice comes defined as whatever works or whatever helps those in power. In Jesus' world, we have a standard of truth and for our moral behavior. Perhaps Pilate should have asked, "Who is truth?" The source is the Life Application Study Bible. 13:9. But you have a custom that I should release someone to you at Passover. Do you therefore want me to release to you the King of the Jews? Judging, there was something different and innocent about Jesus. Pilate hoped this custom of releasing a prisoner might help deliver this man whom Pilate knew was innocent. Pilate phrased the question this way to appeal to the Jewish crowd. He thought they would want a man named as their own king to be spared death by crucifixion. The source is enduringword.com. 40. Then they all cried again, saying, "Not this man, but Barabbas." Now Barabbas was a robber. Barabbas was a rebel against Rome, and although he had committed murder, he was probably a hero among the Jews. The Jews hated being governed by Rome and paying taxes to the despised government. Barabbas, who had led a rebellion and failed, was released instead of Jesus, the only one truly helping Israel. The source is the Life Application Study Bible. If you have not yet become a follower of Jesus Christ or have real questions about him, ask God to reveal him to you. He could come to you through a friend, an insight from the Bible, an inner prompting from your spirit, or some other way. But he will come and reveal himself to you if you ask. Please like, comment, and share so that the algorithm knows to deliver our content to more audiences. This helps getting God's word out. Search for Jesus at HaroldSwaney for the complete library of my Bible story videos. Thank you, and God bless.